Welcome back. And our first item, of course, is embarking over the situation inside the Middle East and the escalating war between the U.S. and Iran, with the conflicting signals, like I earlier mentioned in our intro, between the U.S. administration and the Iranian one. But recently, the U.S. President Donald Trump have given statements that they are going to be ending this war in 2 or 3 weeks, possibly. But as usual, this might not be confirmed in case of any escalation. And there were also statements from Vladimir Zelensky offering help in this war and to shed more light over this particular issue. Very delighted to be having with us over the phone Professor Dr. Hassan Wagih, international relations expert or professor. Good morning, Dr. Wagih.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Let us first discuss the how do you interpret? I can't ask you that question actually, but I have to. Every time I have to ask you that question. How do you interpret those statements that were given lately by the U.S. President Donald Trump? Although that he is giving conflicting signals, he says something and they do something else. So how do you assess those statements that this war is going to end in 2 or 3 weeks? Is it really going to end? And if in that case, what could be the potential agreement between both sides?
Yes, actually, it is a very major characteristics of the discourse of President Trump. It's to have these conflicting messages and conflicting signals. And we have become accustomed to that. So when he says he would like to finish the war in 2 or 3 weeks, you can believe him. But again, if you can have an interpretation that this is a cover for a military operation, a tougher military operation, you can also believe him. So this is what we are accustomed to get used to when it comes to the discourse of President Trump. So I think that it's still ambiguous as it is, hopeful. Yes, you know, but the man has an impact on the price of oil. When he mentions something like that in the surface level, it shows that the war will come to an end. You know, you have the prices of oil decreased. Really, it is under $100 now. And also when other economic activities rises. But again, you will never predict what will happen exactly. But there are some indications that's very clear, which is, yes, he has to finish the business of Iran very quickly because that's his nature and that's his agenda. And he's under a great deal of pressure. And of course, he found out that nobody is responding with his allies, especially the NATO, is not responding enough for him. So the man says, okay, I will leave Hormuz Strait for you. I don't need it. I don't care about it. And he made also a very, I don't know how to describe it, a move. When he said those who would like to buy oil, you have American oil. You can buy American oil with the current price, of course.
Of course. But then political observers, some of them have just pointed out to the fact that when President Donald Trump says something or issue a statement, he does exactly the opposite. So Iran could expect another bombardment or probably a land invasion, a ground invasion, anything of that sort, but nothing on ending that war. Do you agree with that analysis?
Not 100%, of course. Especially in our critical context now. Now is very important. You can see that the statements of Trump should be considered with the statements of the Iranian president. The Iranian president said something along the lines that there is negotiation going on, and it hopes also to end the war. So here you can find in the final analysis a different situation. If the two parties here, and you analyze the two parties, we shouldn't analyze one party only. So I think there are some indications that this war could come to an end. But again, if it will end up with a Hollywood direction, you have to have a very qualitative military operation. You don't know what is the impact of this military operation, how it will last, how it will be effective, how it will trigger reaction.
Right, but then again, when Tehran talks about having a necessary will to end the war, what exactly does that phrase imply as a message, and what does it signify about its military readiness and political objectiveness?
Actually, when it comes to this point, Iran now, before the war, Iran did not control Hormuz as now. Now, Iran has a very strong hold on the strait.
Of course.
So I think this is one point that would invite Iran to finish off this war and claim the victory that they have that, and they have stood against aggression. They can also decorate their statements in a very helpful ways for them. So I think that, yes, before the war, Iran didn't have Hormuz. Now it has Hormuz. Before the war, Iran won certain points, like standing, stood against that aggression, and they came out, yes, devastated in so many parts, but they can rebuild themselves again. So I think that it's a very complicated situation, and every party could easily claim a victory according to its own way and according to its own agenda. But the reality is very difficult. The reality is that everybody, from no winning, no losing, no 100% losing, no 100% winning so far. But still, the story did not end so far.
Earlier, the President Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, said that Ukraine might be stretching its hands to assist in opening the Strait of Hormuz. How do you read those statements by Vladimir Zelensky's announcement to assist the U.S. in, or interfere, or rather, I can leave the space for you to describe the statement, that intervention by Ukraine. How do you assess it, and what does it exactly, what type of message does it deliver?
Actually, it pertains to the conflict between Trump and the NATO. You know, he mentioned several statements regarding the NATO. And of course, he mentioned that it is much ado about nothing, or a tiger made of paper. And without the United States, they are good for nothing. And they must follow him, and they must, he would consider him as the leader of that NATO, not a participant. And if the NATO is not responding enough to his call to reopen Hormuz, so they are stealing from that. So he said, okay, I don't care about you. But who is in a much more trap? Zelensky is a much more trap, because he is expecting help from NATO and from Trump. So at least if there is a conflict, because Trump is angry against the NATO, he is trying to save the situation for himself, trying to ally with Trump, and to say, sir, I'm with you in this war.
Right, okay. He is trying to be able to score any...
and adapt to the situation.
Anyway, on this note, would like to thank you so much, Professor Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of International Relations. You have a good day. And now it's at the heart of the war lies a fundamental question about the nature of the U.S. engagement in the Middle East, and Trump's remarks suggest a shift towards a more limited and outcome-driven military strategy where the emphasis is placed on achieving specific objectives, such as weakening Iran's military capabilities rather than sustaining long-term involvement. More details in the following report.
The unfolding crisis involving the United States and Iran marks a pivotal moment in contemporary geopolitics, reflecting both the volatility of